Lots of entrepreneurs try and run, and I remember I did, on like 5 hours sleep every night. So I wanted to find out what maybe the cause of this was, if I could find anything, any golden nuggets to sort of implement as well. It turns out that Joanna, who was the lady, the sleep coach that came in to talk to us, dropped loads of knowledge. So I'm going to break down my findings and my takeaways from that session. What's going on, guys? Welcome back. In the Content to Clients consulting program that I run, alongside having one-to-one calls with clients, alongside the group calls that we have twice a week, alongside the course, alongside the community element, I also bring in guest experts. And I bring these people in because we don't cover every single topic that's relevant to entrepreneurship, because we're simply not experts in it. So once a month, I'll reach out to, maybe it's someone to help with YouTube and come and do a guest session on that. Maybe it's an accountant or something financially based. Or in a recent session, I actually asked a sleep coach to come on board, and just to give us some pointers, because sleep's such an important factor in every aspect of life, obviously personal and business, but we're looking at it from a business point of view. Lots of entrepreneurs try and run, and I remember I did, on like 4-5 hours sleep every night. So I wanted to find out what maybe the cause of this was, if I could find anything, any golden nuggets to sort of implement as well. And it turns out that Joanna, who was the lady, the sleep coach that came in to talk to us, dropped loads of knowledge. So I'm going to break down my findings and my takeaways from that session. So guys, let's break down my takeaways. And Joanna Kippax is the name of the lady who came and helped us. And first and foremost, she started talking about what's stopping us from sleeping. And it might be a health condition. It might be something psychological. A lot of the time, for me, it's work stress or overthinking and behavioural reasons as well. And we need to find that out before we can fix it. You know, you need to understand what the problem is before you can put measures in place to address it. So spend a bit of time, if you're not sleeping, and just try and work out what it is, or what you think it is, that's actually stopping you from getting enough sleep. If you can't do it, any methods that anyone suggests to you, even if it's a doctor or it is someone who's more specifically into sleep, into helping people with sleep, it probably won't work. So that was a key takeaway, is like, look at the problems first. You know, what's going on in your life that might be impacting your sleep. Secondly, what works for one person doesn't always work for everyone else, okay? So just because someone else has done something, it's like what I teach people on LinkedIn, for example. Just because video works for me doesn't mean it's necessarily going to work for them. There's loads and loads of variables. So just bear in mind that other people giving you recommendations and advice, and even this video, should be taken with a pinch of salt, and it needs tailoring and personalising to your own lifestyle, I guess. Joanna also runs 2-day sleep retreats, so I would highly recommend getting in touch with her, Joanna Kippax, if you do want to fix your sleep more permanently. Obviously, this is just a bit of an overview, but we talked about caffeine. And there's this stigma attached to caffeine that I know a lot of entrepreneurs will drink it only in the morning. And I think that's a really good place to go. I now don't drink any caffeine after lunch. So I only drink tea, I don't drink coffee. Obviously I'm from England, but I only have, 3 cups of tea now in the morning. Before, I was having them all the way up to just before bedtime. So no wonder my sleep wasn't great. And I didn't finish this sentence, but I think what I'm trying to say here is it takes 12 to 18 hours to get caffeine out of your system, okay? Another thing, and was definitely guilty of this, using a device in bed, using your phone or an iPad. Joanna said that your phone delivers more light into your eyes than the sun, which, when you think about it, is absolutely crazy, yeah? And it's not just the light, it's the scrolling and the interaction, yeah? So that is keeping your brain alive. When you're in bed, you really want to be slowing your brain down to get ready and prepare for sleep. So that was a really good takeaway. And I do this now. I leave my phone downstairs. My partner also does the same thing. So leave it outside the room and let your brain know subconsciously that it's time to sleep. You know, we're getting ready, we're gearing up to wind down, or we are winding down, okay? Another thing she said was that good sleepers still wake in the night, and this will happen more frequently as you grow older. So even if you are a good sleeper, just because you're waking up in the middle of the night doesn't necessarily mean you're a bad sleeper, okay? Doesn't necessarily mean there's a problem. And she said another interesting thing, a phrase that I've never heard before, which was a forgettery. So you have a memory that remembers things and stores them, and you have a forgettery, which it's almost like a filter that will get rid of any memories that aren't, or any happenings that aren't relevant and doesn't need to be don't need to be stored. And it's a safety mechanism in your brain that allows your brain to switch off a bit easier. During dream sleep, your body is paralyzed. I find this crazy. So if you get into a fight in your dream, for example, you'll be fighting subconsciously, but in reality, you'll just lay on a bed and your body goes into paralysis during sleep to protect it from reenacting that fight and to stop you swinging wildly while you're in bed, which I thought was really interesting. I did not know this. Your brain is probably more active at night than it is during the day. And she said, she sort of did a real reframe here, that sleep is a 24-hour process. And there are parts of your brain that will switch off when you're awake. And it's the same at night. Yeah. So the problem-solving part of the brain is useless. You don't need to solve problems when you're asleep. That's something that your brain will do when you're awake. And that's part of the reason why a lot of people can't sleep, myself included. I'll have a bit of quiet time just before I'm about to fall asleep, and my brain will start solving problems, which is not what you want. And if you have a phone in front of you or you're watching TV, for example, you're chucking more problems into your brain, which is not what it needs. So another real good reason to park the device and leave it outside. The thing that is awake is your fear and emotional center. That's wide awake and partying, she said, when you're asleep. So that's just something that happens with the memory sorting and the forgettery that I mentioned. Anxiety is also increased slightly before sleep because your brain is shutting down that problem solving part. So long as you're aware of this and you know, I'm probably not quite ready to sleep, I'm feeling a bit anxious, just be conscious that anxiety is being caused by your brain attempting to shut down. And I thought that's mega interesting too. In the second part of it, she talked about how to optimize the quantity, and the third part, she talked about optimizing the quality of your sleep. So we need to work out, if possible, what's stopping us from sleeping. And she said there are 3 systems to good sleep, and they all work together. The first being your sleep drive, and she talked about this like a balloon, a deflated balloon. In the morning, your sleep drive is really, really deflated. This balloon has no air in it whatsoever, but everything you do throughout the day will inflate that balloon. It will bring it to its maximum capacity, and that means you're getting slowly ready for more sleep. So if you've not done enough exercise, your body, or if you're not moved enough, your body isn't going to fill up that balloon. It's not going to allow you to sleep, let's say. So this was a really interesting quote where she said, good sleep starts in the morning. So exercising, getting out, not necessarily in the morning, but exercising and getting out and completing your tasks and then switching off is really, really crucial to keep that balloon filling up and actually get yourself ready for sleep throughout the day, almost like consistently. Lions, she said, are not good. They will keep your sleep drive down, whereas the minute you wake up, you want to start blowing this balloon up almost. So waking up early will build it, okay? Another interesting fact, she said, lockdown increased insomnia rates from 8% to 40%. Now, I don't know if that's just UK, because she is UK based, but either way, that's a mad statistic to think about. She talked then about the body clock and said every cell within our body has a circadian or a clock inside it. When they're all working together, you feel good. And I remember asking, can you give us an example of why they might not be working together? And she said jet lag. Jet lag's an example of your clocks not being aligned. The best way to set that clock every day is to get sunlight. If you can get sunlight in the first waking moments, that's meant to be amazing. Your mood and your productivity will improve. And it's not really surprising that, insomnia rates went up during COVID and during lockdown because people just stayed indoors. They didn't get that sunlight. I know in the UK we were blessed with a really good April and May in terms of sunlight, which was great. But obviously lockdown here lasted a fair few months, and it did start to stay dark during some of those months in the later part of the year. So morning light's great. Don't hit the snooze button, okay? Know if you're a morning or an evening person, and set your routine. If you're an evening person, don't go to bed early. Wake up late, but try and keep it consistent, is what she was saying. And on the flip side, if you're a morning person, don't try and stay up late. Go to bed when you feel sleepy. Then she talked about mindset. So, and I really like this. She said, your bedroom is not a meeting room, okay? Your bedroom is a room with a bed in. You're meant to go to sleep in it. So put your mind to sleep before your body. Use things like music, meditation, sleep sounds, reading as well is obviously a good thing. And don't take your phone or your emails or any form of sort of electrical device, if you can help it, into your bedroom. It needs to be a place where you go to sleep. Now, these were her rules. Before we get onto the quantity, these are her rules for optimizing sleep quality. Waking up at the same time every day, getting morning sun, making sure your body needs sleep, so blowing up that balloon, only going to sleep when you're sleepy. And if you wake up, don't lie there, all right? Get up, move around the room, maybe go into a different room, go to the toilet maybe if you need it, and then come back and go to sleep, rather than just lying there, because your brain at some point will switch on, think it's time to wake up, when actually you still want to be asleep for 4 hours. It's happened to us all. And winding down properly, as I just mentioned, books and meditations, things like that, come highly recommended from Joanna. So, optimizing sleep quantity. Alcohol is a big no-no. It breaks up your sleep, destroys the cycle, and the older you get, the worse this becomes, as I well know. It signals to your body that it's still daytime, okay? Same with caffeine. It's a stimulant. So it's really, really not good to put caffeine in your body too close to bedtime. Daytime napping is like eating before a meal. I quite like that. It reduces the sleep drive. But if you do want to have a daytime nap, she said 20 minutes is optimal, as it stops you from going into a deep sleep or a deep sleep cycle. So 20 minutes, if you need to set your alarm and just snooze on the sofa or something for 20 minutes, don't let it go past that, yeah? Set an alarm and get back up. You might feel a bit groggy, but apparently that's what your body needs to remain as optimal as possible. Stress and sleep don't work together. Stress will turn off your sleep hormone as if you're in danger, and I think that's like your survival mode almost kicking in, and you've got no control over that internally, but you can influence it externally by doing some of the things that we mentioned in the quality of sleep, doing everything to suppress it, as it says here. So the rules for optimizing sleep quantity are to avoid alcohol and caffeine. Don't ignore snoring as well. So loud snoring, if you're hearing it from your partner or your partner comments on you snoring loudly, that means daytime tiredness and you're having an unrefreshing sleep. Could also be symptoms of sleep apnea as well, I believe. And the other rule is don't lie in. Cool. So she mentioned someone called Jamie Lionheart, who does lots of posts about sleep positions. And then I came up with a few questions, and so did the other people in the Content to Clients program who were on the call. I asked a few questions just about my current scenario. So, do blue light blockers work? Apparently not. There's no strong evidence for CBD, because I've tried that a couple of times. It worked for me the first few times, but then I think I almost built up a tolerance to it. No trials have been done. Reason why is these trials are usually funded by pharma companies, and a pharma company is not going to fund it as it could affect sales for their products. And she said, Chris, you're right. You can build up a tolerance quite quickly, and you can actually build a dependency as well. So while she didn't say stay away from CBD, she said no tests have been done. I also asked, what about Valium and certain sleep medication? And she said all that does is sedate you, and it prevents sleep cycles. It knocks you out just like an antidepressant will. So try and stay away from any sleep medication where possible, and keep everything natural where you can. The best thing she said is to start with your waking up time and keep it the same time every single day, and slowly that will start to dictate what time your body feels sleepy, and therefore will dictate your bedtime. So listen to your body. She also mentioned a daylight lamp. If you're not able to get those few minutes, 20 minutes of sunlight at the start of the day, she said you can buy a 10,000 lux lamp from Amazon and place it wherever you usually are first thing in the morning. Like sometimes I'll go to the gym, which is cool. Other times I'll go straight to my desk, which isn't great. I wake up at 5 and then go straight to my desk. So I've actually bought one of these daylight lamps, and I've put it right next to my desk. And This can also be used, halfway through the day if you want to boost your productivity, because it releases melatonin. And I don't know too much about that, but that is obviously a positive chemical into your body that you need to be more productive and optimal. I used to, and still do a bit, in fact, I have to all the time. I have to have a distraction, something playing, or a TV on, or something to help me fall asleep. Otherwise, my brain goes into overdrive. All right. She said this is a habit, and even when you do fall asleep, you're not fully asleep because your brain is subconsciously listening out for that film or for that album or podcast or whatever it is to change in volume, and then your brain will, again, maybe do something to keep you safe, so wake you up, which is obviously the last thing you want. The best way is giving yourself something else to think about. So I said, what about meditation? There's this app called Headspace. I have it on my alarm clock, which is an Alexa Echo Dot or something like that. And she said that's the best way. If you can get like a 10-20 minute meditation playing, not from your phone, because you don't want your phone in the room, from something else, then do it. So I also highly recommend getting an alarm clock, because that suppresses the need to take your mobile into the bedroom. All right. She said don't eat a couple of hours before bed, otherwise the message to the brain is that it's still daytime. And the same with nicotine as well. I mentioned earlier about sort of caffeine and alcohol. Nicotine is a stimulant. It gets your whole body working and probably, as she mentioned earlier, tricks it into thinking it's daytime. So guys, a bit of a random one, this video, but hopefully you've learned something. I definitely did when Joanna came in and delivered the session. If you want to hear more about the type of work we do with our clients, I'm going to stick a link below, and that will be to have a look at the Content to Clients program and see the kind of results that we're helping people get. 5K, 10K, 15K months consistently across various industries, all through building a personal brand and utilizing organic content online, typically across Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube, and email as well. So if you want to have a chat with me, there's an opportunity there to book a free call, and we can talk about where you're at right now, where you want to get to, and obviously if we can help, we'll discuss the various options. But hope you've learned something. I'll catch you in the next one.